Welcome to another gripping story from rBestof, where real Redditors share their wildest and most unbelievable experiences. Today, we dive into a shocking tale from a young woman who discovered that her boyfriend tried to do something truly horrifying. He attempted to murder her beloved dog. I'm the original poster. A 23-year-old woman who thought I had the perfect life with my boyfriend and my loyal 11-year-old dog, Stixie. We had been together for 3 years, living in a cozy apartment and planning our future together. Stixie wasn't just a pet. He was family. I had grown up with him, and when I left home for university, he was my constant companion through thick and thin. But everything changed in the blink of an eye. What I'm about to share is the darkest moment I've ever faced, when I learned that the person I trusted most tried to take my best friend's life away without telling me. This is not a story about just heartbreak. It's about betrayal on a level I never thought possible. As we move forward, I'll walk you through how I found out, what I did next, and how I managed to save Stixie. Brace yourself for a roller coaster of emotions, because this is one story that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Before everything went wrong, life with my boyfriend Jay and Stixie was peaceful and filled with small joys. Jay and I had been together for 3 years. We met in university, shared similar interests, and dreamed about building a life together. He was 23, like me, and we had plans to eventually move up north, maybe even overseas to be closer to his family. Our relationship felt solid, or so I thought. Stixie was my heart. He was an 11-year-old golden retriever with a gentle soul and a goofy smile that could brighten anyone's day. He was slowing down with age, a little overweight, but still full of love and loyalty. I'd had him since I was a kid, and leaving him behind when I moved out was never an option. He was my comfort, especially during tough times at university. Our days were simple. Mornings started with a walk around the neighborhood. Jay would make coffee while I prepared breakfast, and we'd all spend time lounging together. Weekends often meant trips to the park or visiting Jay's family nearby. Stixie loved the outdoors, chasing squirrels and playing fetch until he was too tired to run anymore. I trusted Jay completely. He was kind to Stixie, always gentle and caring. There were no signs of trouble in our little world. We laughed, made plans, and supported each other through everything. Looking back now, I can't believe how quickly it all unraveled. What I thought was love turned into something far darker. At first, the signs were tiny, almost invisible. Jay started acting differently, quiet, distracted, sometimes secretive. He would disappear for hours without telling me where he was going or what he was doing. When I asked, he'd give vague answers, brushing off my questions with a forced smile or a change of subject. I noticed him avoiding eye contact, his phone always face down on the table. Little things that didn't add up began piling up: missed calls, unexplained text messages, and him nervously checking his phone when I walked into the room. I tried to ignore the growing unease, convincing myself it was just stress from work or family stuff. One day, I caught him deleting messages right before I could see them. When I asked him about it, he said it was nothing, just some old stuff he didn't want me to worry about. My gut twisted, but I pushed the feeling aside. I wanted to trust him. There was also a strange tension in the house. Stixie seemed unsettled, pacing more than usual and looking toward the door like he was waiting for something. Or someone. I wondered if my anxiety was rubbing off on him. Despite all this, I kept trying to make sense of things. Maybe Jay was just going through a rough patch. Maybe I was overthinking. I didn't want to believe that something was seriously wrong. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something bad was coming. The moment I found out everything changed was surreal. It wasn't Jay who told me. No, it was the vet's office. I received a call out of the blue from the clinic where we usually took Stixie. They said someone had brought him in late last night without my knowledge, and they were concerned about his condition. I was stunned. Jay had never mentioned taking Stixie to the vet, let alone in secret. I immediately called Jay, but he didn't answer. Panic set in. I felt like the ground was crumbling beneath me. How could he do this without telling me? What was wrong with Stixie? My mind raced with terrifying possibilities. A friend of mine who lived nearby also mentioned seeing Jay drive off with Stixie late the previous evening, looking tense and hurried. I hadn't even noticed because I was out with family. But, putting the pieces together, it became clear that something was terribly wrong. I called the vet back, desperate for answers. They told me Stixie was admitted because he was lethargic, not eating, and had some internal bleeding. The vet hinted it might have been caused by poisoning or a severe allergic reaction, but they weren't sure yet. My heart broke at the thought of my loyal dog suffering in silence. I rushed to get ready and drove straight to the clinic, my mind clouded with fear and confusion. I wanted to scream, to cry, to understand why Jay would put Stixie in danger. Every minute felt like an eternity as I sped through the streets, hoping my best friend was still alive and fighting. When I arrived, the vet was waiting to explain everything in detail. I was shaking, barely able to listen. The reality hit me hard. Jay had put my dog's life at risk, and I had no idea why. The betrayal was sharp, cutting deeper than anything I'd ever felt before. The vet clinic was tense when I arrived. Stixie was lying on a soft blanket in a quiet room, hooked up to an IV. His eyes were tired, and he looked weak, but when I called his name, his tail gave a faint wag. Relief washed over me, but it was mixed with fear. The vet explained that Stixie was stable but fragile. He needed to stay for observation for at least 24 hours, but they had done everything possible to save him. I thanked the staff and signed the necessary papers to bring him home as soon as he was strong enough. Watching Stixie struggle to stand was heartbreaking. I gently lifted him into my arms and whispered promises that I'd protect him from now on. The betrayal I felt toward Jay was overwhelming. How could someone who claimed to love me do this to my family? Driving home, I kept glancing at Stixie, holding him close. His breathing was shallow, but he was alive. That was all that mattered. I knew there was no turning back after this. Our relationship had shattered, and I had to face the truth about Jay. At home, I made sure Stixie was comfortable, giving him water and soft food. As he rested, I sat beside him, my mind swirling with questions and pain. The relief of having him back was mixed with the heavy weight of betrayal. I realized I needed to be strong, not just for Stixie, but for myself. Whatever came next, I knew I couldn't let this break me. This was only the beginning of a difficult journey. While Jay was away on his trip, my phone kept buzzing with messages from him. At first, I ignored most of them, too overwhelmed to respond. Some texts were casual, asking how Stixie was doing, but others felt strange. Awkward apologies and vague explanations that didn't add up. Each message only fueled my anxiety. Was he truly sorry, or just trying to cover his tracks? I debated whether to reply, fearing that any reaction might push him further away or make things worse. I chose caution, responding minimally and never asking the tough questions directly. As the day of his return grew closer, my heart raced. I was preparing myself for a confrontation I wasn't sure I was ready to face. Would he deny everything? Would he show remorse? Or would he act like nothing had happened? Inside, I was torn. Part of me wanted to scream at him, to demand answers and justice. Another part was afraid. afraid of what I might find out or how he might react. The confusion swirled inside me like a storm. Late at night, I lay awake staring at my phone, reading and rereading his texts. The silence between messages felt deafening, and I realized this wasn't just about Stixie anymore. It was about trust, betrayal, and the future I had thought we shared. I knew the moment he walked through that door, everything would change forever. Feeling lost, I reached out to close friends and neighbors for support. Their concern comforted me, but I still needed concrete answers. I turned to online legal forums to understand my rights, especially concerning animal cruelty and tenant protection since we shared a rented home. The advice I received was eye-opening. I learned that secretly taking a pet to the vet without the owner's consent could be a breach of trust and might even fall under certain animal welfare laws, depending on the jurisdiction. Many users emphasized documenting everything and seeking legal counsel if things escalated. My friends were a lifeline, offering emotional support and encouraging me to stand firm. Some even offered to accompany me to the vet or help me gather evidence. I felt less alone, knowing I had people ready to back me up. At the same time, I began researching local laws about tenant rights and what protections I might have if I needed to leave the home or take legal action. It felt overwhelming but empowering to understand the options available. With a clearer head, I started planning my next steps. First, ensuring Stixie's safety and health. Then, considering how to protect myself legally and emotionally. From Jay's actions, this was no longer just about a broken relationship. It was about safeguarding my future and my dog's well-being. The day Jay returned felt like walking into a storm. I waited, heart pounding as the clock ticked closer to 7 p.m. When I heard the front door open, I braced myself. Jay stepped inside, acting calm but guarded. I confronted him immediately, voice steady but trembling with anger. "Why did you take Stixie to the vet without telling me?" I demanded. He hesitated, then launched into a series of excuses. First, he said he had no idea where Stixie was and was trying to help. Then he claimed the dog had been hit by a car and he was ending his suffering. I wasn't buying it. I pulled out my phone and showed him the photos Bob had sent, the vet footage clearly showing Jay dropping off Stixie. His face changed. No more excuses, just cold silence. Then came the most shocking moment. Instead of apologizing, Jay snapped and said, "I should have had you put down instead." Those words hit me harder than anything. Fear and disbelief took over. At that moment, my co-workers who had come over to support me stepped in. They made it clear Jay was no longer welcome. Neighbors who had seen Jay take Stixie also voiced their support. Feeling cornered, Jay grabbed some of his things and left of his own accord. The house, once full of tension, felt eerily quiet. I stood there, shaken but relieved that the nightmare was finally over. Though the damage was done, I was grateful for the people who stood by me and helped me reclaim my home, and my dog's safety. In the days that followed, I was overwhelmed by a whirlwind of emotions, betrayal, heartbreak, and deep fear. Jay's actions shattered the trust I had built over 3 years, leaving me questioning everything about our relationship. Coping was hard. Some nights I cried alone, wondering how someone I loved could do something so cruel. But through the pain, I found strength in the support from friends, neighbors, and even strangers online who reached out with kindness and advice. Stixie, thankfully, was recovering well. Seeing him wag his tail again gave me hope and reminded me why I had to be strong. I focused on his care and our bond, which helped me heal little by little. I also sought professional help to manage the trauma. Talking to a counselor helped me process my feelings and rebuild my confidence. I realized I wasn't alone, and I deserved respect and safety. The community around me became a vital part of my healing. Their encouragement empowered me to set firm boundaries, including moving Jay out and securing my home. Most importantly, I became determined not to let this experience define me or Stixie. We deserved a peaceful, loving life, free from fear. Though the road ahead was uncertain, I was ready to take it one day at a time, protecting myself and my beloved dog above all else. Looking back, I realized there were warning signs I ignored. Little things that didn't sit right, but I brushed off because I wanted to believe in the good. Jay's secretiveness about the dog's health was the biggest red flag. Trusting my instincts earlier might have saved us from this pain. I learned that love doesn't mean overlooking disrespect or harmful behavior. Protecting those we love, whether pets or people, means being vigilant and standing up when something feels wrong. No relationship should make you feel scared or confused. To anyone listening or reading this, I urge you to listen to your gut. If something feels off, don't hesitate to seek help or advice. Talk to friends, family, or professionals. You don't have to face hard situations alone. Most importantly, never underestimate your worth and the value of the bonds you cherish. Whether it's your partner or your pet, they deserve honesty, care, and respect. This experience has been painful but eye-opening. It has taught me resilience and the importance of a strong support system. I hope my story helps others recognize warning signs early and find the courage to protect themselves and those they love. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to my story. Sharing it hasn't been easy, but I hope it brings awareness and comfort to anyone going through something similar. If you have faced betrayal, animal cruelty, or difficult relationships, please don't hesitate to share your experience. There's power in community and knowing we're not alone. I encourage everyone to support animal welfare causes and advocate for stronger legal protections for pets and tenants. Our furry friends deserve to be safe, and those who harm them must be held accountable. Remember, recovery is possible. With time, support, and self-care, we can heal and move forward stronger than before. Stay hopeful, stay strong, and take care of yourselves and your loved ones. This is OP's Name, signing off with gratitude and hope for a better tomorrow.